Welcome back to another episode of the Canon on the Boom Bus channel. I'm your host Terry, and doing a movie review for Michael. I feel like I haven't done a movie review in a minute. I need to do that more. But I want to talk about this because it's a very popular topic and one of the biggest movies of the year, or one of the most anticipated of the year. And so, about Michael Jackson. Now, there's a lot of talk about the low Rotten Tomato score, which I'm not gonna get into a Rotten Tomato score and all that. That is not a grade of the movie, although it has shown that a lot of critics kind of downvoted it, and so that's to varying degrees. Now, when I read the reviews, because I happened to just be online when it dropped, and when I read some of the critic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, I think it was like less than 40 something reviews up at the time when it first debuted. And I was reading through most of the top critics, and I saw a commonality of people complaining essentially about what they thought the movie should have covered and it didn't. And that to me is not a fair objective review of the actual movie. You're supposed to review what the movie gave you. Now, when you are doing something that's not fictional, of course you'll always have the baggage of all the knowledge you bring into it. So your thoughts about Michael, your feelings about Michael, your knowledge about all the things that happen. And so that's one of the reasons that biopics get so heavily praised for the acting, because you have a direct idea to juxtapose the actor to. You know, if I'm doing I don't know, Captain Jack Sparrow, there's no Captain Jack Sparrow, so we can't compare Johnny Depp's performance. He has to make it his own. But in biopics, you have someone directly that everybody compares. So we saw Chalamet get praised for I think he did Bob Dylan. I don't know, I didn't watch it. You got Rami Malek got praised for Freddie Mercury, so on and so forth. But I saw the reviews, and a lot of people were just talking about what the movie should have did and how it like handled it with kid gloves, and it didn't dive into anything. So after seeing it for myself, I already knew this was going to be a movie that I enjoyed because I love Michael Jackson. And I knew that from the trailers, how they were approaching it, I knew in IMAX this was going to hit in terms of quality of the production. And it absolutely does. And so I'm going to talk about the movie, and then I'm going to talk about like the film and the filmmaking process. Then I'm going to talk about just the enjoyment of the movie. So as a film, to me, like I said, really well made on the production side. All the recreations of the sets, the videos, the costuming, the makeup, what they did with Jafar as far as transitioning him through the different phases of Michael was excellent. Did nothing seem to stand out too much. And obviously the music and everything, the way it's shot, the cinematography, all of that's great. The problem that a lot of people have, outside of the people that just want like a documentary, because it sometimes feels like people want, I see people get mad about movies, and I'm like, there's all types of biopics. Like, not every biopic is the same. This isn't a documentary. Some aim to look at an event, some aim to look at an era, some aim to look at the whole story. It just depends on what they want to do. And although this movie got changed up due to legal reasons, the marketing has been very specific about like kind of what it's focusing on. And to me, this was just really a celebration of like that rise to mega stardom. And even with that though, I do think there are fair criticisms that the narrative is kind of weak. Like I said, the performances, the production, excellent. The narrative, though, feels a little aimless. Now, obviously, we're following the linear path of Michael's career, so we understand that much. But the in-between parts, I felt like they were trying to do so much that they didn't focus on anything in particular. So things were kind of glossed over. And it does feel a bit like Bohemian Rhapsody, which I believe the producer is from Bohemian Rhapsody. But it felt like, okay, we're trying to cover all this stuff and we're going to go to the most important beats. And I feel like Bohemian might have did that a little bit better. I just felt like, and this might just be a bias, but I felt like what you chose to zoom in on, because of course you're not going to go through every detail of every decision, but you're going to pick pivotal moments to zoom in on, especially when it comes to how a song is created or video. And I felt like they probably could have chose a little better, but either way, you never get any deeper insight to like what Michael is thinking or what he's dealing with or what this issue is, or like they name everything, they kind of put it out there what's happening, but they never really dive into it. The only through line you get is the tension of Michael and his father Joseph, which was there from childhood. And so I think that's the one thing that they deliver on, but the rest of it, it does feel it's kind of just floating. I won't say it's all over the place, but it's kind of just floating out there, and we're waiting to get to the next music piece. But once the music hits, it hits. So in terms of like enjoyment, because I think about this might sound weird, but I feel like if people can come to Spider-Man No Way Home and sit there and cheer loud and give it all these high praises just because it was so cool to see all the Spider-Man, or people can go see Endgame and cheer and give it praise because like that ending Portals fight was insane, I don't care about anything else. If people can do stuff like that, and or Jurassic Park movie or Transformer movie, and they can ignore all the other flaws, especially in the writing and the story, and say it's still a great movie, then I feel like I don't understand why you can't do that with Michael. There's like, I was engaged, of course, but I still recognize objectively as like, or as close to objective opinion as I can, the writing is thin. But that does not mean that the quality that hits with the actual music, and I think the performance of Jafar far exceeds any issues I have with the story. In fact, I already bought my ticket for Tuesday. I'm going again because it's something, man. If you got an IMAX or I don't even remember what they call Dolby Vision or something like that. If you got any of those premium formats, go see Michael in this, because unless you just hate Michael Jackson music, once Michael's music hits in that IMAX, there was no, I'm telling you, something happened to me in that theater. I keep saying that. Something happened to me at one point. Seeing Jafar recreate Michael, and we know that's his nephew and all that, but and we saw the trailer, it doesn't do it justice. Seeing him move, seeing his manner, I couldn't imagine the work he put in to get this right. And then Coleman Domingo gives a great veteran performance as Joseph Jackson. And then Nia Long, I thought was played a really strong role. One of the more quiet performances I've ever saw from her. And yeah, so I purely off just enjoying and celebrating Michael, the movie was fire to me. I think if I'm being objective and just talking about the movie overall, I would say it's probably a solid 80-82% out of 100. So teetering between that C plus and B minus, kind of depending on how you feel about certain things. And then the only last thing I'll say that was weird, because I know there was a lot of the family produced and there's legal things we can't talk about and all this and that. I don't understand why Janet wasn't in it. Now, maybe I'm missing something, but I'm pretty sure Janet was born before 1989, so she was never in the movie, and she wasn't one of the producers, so I don't know if that's a fight. I'm probably gonna look that up after I finish recording this, but and I'm sorry, I guess that might be it. Well, no spoilers, it is what it is. But Janet is not in the movie, and I don't understand what that was about. But yeah, I enjoyed it. again, I'm going again. And that's my thoughts. So go to the comment section. Let me know what you thought. If you saw it, let me know if you plan on seeing it. Share it around, get the convo started. And remember, if you heard it, it's official canon.